You now understand on how to work with your Appearance panel by simultaneously selecting, editing, and targeting your objects and layers with single clicks. So, what if you want to save those appearances as graphics and apply them to your objects to come up with creative results? Well, in this section, I'll be introducing you to our Graphic Styles panel and how to create and save graphic styles. To open up your Graphic Styles panel, you can go to Window and Graphic Styles, or you can simply find it over here in our panel. Now let's drag that out and just simply dock it over here. I'll show you how to create your graphic styles, but before that, let's move this here, expand this, dock this over here. And let's create an object and edit its appearance in order to save it as a graphic style. Let's say I create a star, a fill of perhaps a lighter shade of purple, maybe with a stroke that is dashed, and a darker shade of purple, but instead, let's see. Okay, now let's create our star and see what we get. Let's move this here, increase the weight, and okay. Let's make this a bit smaller, and let's add let's add an effect to our path, or our object right here. Go to, let's say, warp and fish eye. Let's preview and let's just bend this. Okay, just so you're nicely satisfied. And let's add a drop shadow. Preview that. Click OK. And let's say I'd like to add another stroke. Just duplicate that. Perhaps change the color to a lighter shade of purple, but instead, just 1 point, or let's say, change the stroke color to another shade. Okay, now, next, what I'm gonna do is save all of these attributes in my Appearance panel as a graphic style. Simply click over here, and there you go. So, now let's create another object. But instead, just create a new layer. Click on D to reset our panel over here. Just draw a square nicely. Let's see what happens if I click on my graphic style. There you go. Okay, so create a new layer, or just simply on the same layer, I'd like to show you a few things. Let's select a polygon, and let's apply a few attributes to this polygon over here. We'll change the stroke to a dashed line. Change the fill color, let's say pink. And the stroke color to bluer shade. Increase the stroke. Take a look at what happens if I apply my graphic style onto this object right here. You now have a totally new shape. So you can experiment with our graphic styles and see what kind of shapes you can come up with, and even, let's just say I write down graphics, perhaps increase the size, and apply my graphic style onto my text layer here. So, you notice you can come up with new shapes, new styles, and completely new features to your objects by applying those graphic styles and saving them. You also have a built-in library over here when you click on this arrow right here, in which you can save your graphic style and experiment. Let's click on 3D effects and see what happens if I click on my star right here and apply one of my 3D effects. My original shape now has a 3D effect. So there are various things you can come up with when working with graphic styles and saving them. You can apply them to various different artworks and objects, and that is when graphic styles come in handy. Now, it is important to understand the difference between patterns and graphic styles, because patterns are simply repetitive tiles of a design you created, and on the other hand, graphic styles basically follow your appearance panel options that you apply in order to come up with an entirely new graphic from your original object, or just simply apply the same graphic attributes onto another object. You can even click on this drop-down arrow right here to manage your graphic styles. Now experiment with your shape and effects, and you'll be amazed by the transformations and the quick results you'll get.